welcome back for another episode of Coffee Break with Melissa. I'm your host, Melissa, and today I'm joined by the lovely Miss Kristin Cardin. She is has been in foster care and child welfare for a very long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have the pleasure of her company and time. She is here in the licensing office, licensing team, and she wears another hat as well. You want to introduce yourself, Kristin?
Sure.
And tell us that other role that.
Sure. So I am an educational liaison, and that means that I help our families and our kiddos, the youth that are in care, if there is an issue with an IEP, a 504, anything within the school regarding discipline, even if there's just basic questions. So educational rights are sometimes something that's not always talked about in foster care, but yet it is very important because a lot of our kids' symptoms come out in behaviors or can come out in the ways that, school is testing them, and it may come out in a low score or even a high score. So yeah, it's really great to be able to help our families.
Yeah, no, thank you for lending us that knowledge, because that takes, special time being put in to learn those ins and outs of like working with the school systems and like just even without the foster care aspect to it, just that. But then there's another layer of like, that adds a lot more to it,
Yes.
So this is our special back to school edition of the show. So you guys are in for a treat. Now that, kids are going to be starting school, it's important to like just raise awareness of like what to expect, how to, what things to have in your back pocket with, helping set them up for success and all that. But before we get into all that, let's do our normal, lovely things that we do on this show, which of course we talk beverages. What are you drinking today?
Well, I am drinking ice cold water. So as I said before, I might be the most boring one as far as my beverage goes. However, it's really hot today. And my car does not have air conditioning. So there you go.
Yeah.
Ice cold water. And it's healthy.
Yeah.
very healthy.
Hydrating and healthy. So
What do you have?
the lovely Rachel made me it is espresso with almond milk, steamed almond milk blended with sugar-free French vanilla creamer.
Wow.
And she added, she steamed those two together and put some cinnamon on top. So this is the most delicious almond milk, French vanilla, cinnamon latte.
I feel like that needs a new name.
Right.
Like something with Rachel in it, maybe, if that's her.
This is really good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So good. It's given horchata vibes. It's really, really good.
Great.
Okay, and so what's your favorite warm beverage? Because you did, I think I heard you say that you had one.
I do have one. It's normally hot chocolate. So, yep, I'm a hot chocolate go-to, especially during the winter time, right before I go to bed. And, if you've been out in the cold all day, like we usually typically are, and as social workers, it's just great to go home and just have that nice warm hot chocolate right before bed.
Do you have water-based or milk or?
I do water.
Water. Do you add marshmallows?
Sometimes. It depends on who's partaking with me, because if it's one of my kids, then typically, yes, I have marshmallows. If it is just me, then not really, no.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks. Cool. And so how long have you been with LSSI?
I'd say a year and a half now.
Is there something about it that you like in particular, or that you enjoy the most?
So I really like, this may sound odd, but I really like the staff and the management style. So I've worked in case management, pretty much any social work role. And I really like the way that LSSI's management and our fellow staff members are very welcoming, are great when you need something like help. At least it's been my experience.
Yeah.
And transitioning, when I transitioned into the educational liaison position, being able to be supported through that, because like you said, I have to learn a lot. And it changes sometimes. Some things are very, very much the same. But each situation can be different. And so being able to have the support through that, to be able to have somebody to go to ask questions to that welcome you is fantastic.
Yeah. And, not all LSSI sites have have a position, have a person that's physically there. So can you tell us about how many people do your job for us,
sure.
and how you help other places too?
So it's fairly new that I'm going to become a full-time education liaison, because like you said, I was wearing a couple different hats. And so there's another worker that's named Rob, and he does a couple other sites for us. The new sites that I'll be working with will be, of course, Rockford, but then I also have Aurora and Nachusa.
Okay.
So I can go out face-to-face and meet with those workers, which will be a fantastic support to them, hopefully. And I can participate in their IEPs and 504s and learn those school districts, because although there's a broad swipe of laws and regulations, each school district kind of has their own style. So kind of figure that out will be interesting.
Oh, nice. And we keep you busy as it is.
Yes,
right?
yes.
I'm here I see like the last minute, hey, can you come to this meeting with us? Or hey, can you help with consents? And
yes. Consents. And I've also helped, like, at times even return homes and things if a parent has a question, or I can't necessarily attend meetings unless invited, if it's a biological parent, right? But if it's something like an early return home, a lot of that needs to be supported as well. So yeah, it's a really broad stroke for what I do, and it's really kind of amazing because if somebody comes to me and asks a question, I'll do everything I can to find that answer for them or provide the support for them. Not everybody knows the ins and outs of the educational piece of it, and school districts generally do abide by the laws and the rules and things. Sometimes there's just a miscommunication, or sometimes you don't know what to advocate for.
Exactly. And kids in care, they've been through enough already as it is. And it's good to be extra careful and vigilant to make sure that they're not slipping through the cracks, that everything that can be done is being done.
And I think one of the things that makes education unique is that the foster parent is the educational advocate for the child. So they can sign on IEPs and 504s, and they participate in that piece of advocacy for the child within the classroom, within that school. And that's very cool, right? That's amazing for them to be able to have that piece to do. And so I come in as a support to that piece. So that way they know and they have somebody there with them during that process, which I think is really kind of neat to do. I like that about my position. Yeah,
and just for those who may not know what IEP stands for.
Individual Educational, what is it?
Plan.
Yeah. And then a 504. So the difference between IEP is usually a disability, like a learning disability. And then as far as a 504, that can wrap with emotional as well as some medical.
Okay.
So for instance, if you have a child that's diabetic, that's going to usually fall underneath that 504 plan. Sometimes an ADHD diagnosis will fall under the 504 plan. There's also kind of a misperception, I guess, that you have to have a diagnosis of, let's say, ADHD to have a 504 plan, but you do not. Rob and I often say, if it looks like a duck, it's a duck. And so the school may pressure and want that diagnosis on a piece of paper for a 504, but you do not need to have that. So there's like little loops in the system that sometimes, you may not know. I mean, I didn't know until I started learning it.
Yeah. So it's so much case by case, and there's curveballs and different unique things that.
Correct.
Especially with youth in care, they may start off when they lived with their birth parents in one place and then end up not being able to stay at that same school for some reason or another.
I love that you said that. I love this. See, this is why conversations are fantastic. So within the Homeless Act, right? This is something I've been working on a lot and learning, that when a child is 906, so for everyone, a 906 is when a child moves from a birth parent into a foster parent's home, whether that be a grandparent, an aunt, or a traditional home. The child is allowed to stay in the school of origin. So if they go to one school and then they get moved into a different home, they are allowed to stay at their home school.
See, the pushback historically has been busing.
Oh,
and
but
resources.
Transportation is covered under that act. So that's something that a lot of, I think I find more of a struggle with a lot of schools, because I think their automatic assumption is, oh, nope, they're going to move schools. And that's not what happens. And that's not what's supposed to happen. Yeah. So we work with them. This isn't like a competition or you versus me. This is just a kind of, ironically, like an educational piece, even for the district sometimes, that we come together and we discuss it professionally and we talk about, well, but this is here and this is here, and what's in the best interest of the child. That's why that was created. So it's also for homeless children as well. So if you take away the youth and care piece, that also is why that was created. So if you have a kid that loses housing, we don't want them to also lose their school. Schools are very safe spaces for our children, and consistent.
Yeah, it's not even entirely about the academic piece of it. That is important. Yep. But those connections, the sense of belonging that's already established, goes a long way in like keeping that child like feeling like their whole entire world didn't get pulled up from under them
or disrupted, right? Because I always say to adults, when you change jobs, it can be scary, right? So if you go from one place and you switch jobs into a new place, you're meeting all new people, a new supervisor, and we have generally really good coping skills as adults, right? To be able to understand and make a choice. That's normally a choice. Kids don't have those choices, and they don't have control over their environment. So the bare minimum, right, is to actually have them continue to have those connections with the people that they can. Teachers are very important.
Yes.
Peers are very important.
Sometimes they can see their family through the school by way of being at the same school together.
Absolutely. And it's a security. They feel secure, typically in their school. And so we don't want to move all of that around. And sometimes I am very aware that sometimes it can't happen. So if we're moving a kid from Chicago to Rockford, are we going to be able to? Probably not. And, in that way, we just try to cushion that as much as we can and provide the right supports for that child or children, in the family. So it's not always a feasible thing due to that transportation piece. But if it is within district to district, proximity wise, that can be covered to make sure that they get to that school.
Yeah. Thank you. And like, just in terms of resources, what kind of things can foster parents or even birth parents' families like do to get ready? Like we have drives, right? For like book bags.
So I would look within your community. A lot of churches do it. I think the districts, the big like Rockford School District does it. I'll have to look for Nachusa and Aurora. But there are usually a bunch of drives. I think LSSI, do you know if they reimburse, I think up to $30 to $50 for school supplies as well. So
$50 per child. And then, isn't that good? And then gym clothes, there's a budget for that separately as well. Good. So foster parents just fill out a reimbursement form. You can get that from your caseworker. They can get that from their caseworker or us, licensing can help.
Yes. And so when you're looking at school supplies, I also put a bug in everybody's ear for the enrollment piece, right? So you're going to have usually if your kid has is new to the home, it needs to be enrolled into a school. If they're still attending that home of origin, that school of origin, then necessarily you're not going to have to do enrollment. You're going to register them.
Yes.
If there is a school change, we need to enroll. Or a new kid that's going into a school system. So if they're 3 and they're going into school, we need to enroll them. I'm here to help with that. I think I do about 3 enrollments with foster parents to kind of guide them through that process. But your local district, usually online, will give instructions on how to do that. And do not hesitate to call the district office, because they will also be able to tell you when that day is. It's usually multiple days, and how to do it.
Yeah, and I think school districts are good about like understanding that when it's a child that's, in foster care that all the paperwork might not be readily available for what's needed to enroll.
Right.
And they need to like give a little grace with that.
They do. They usually, you have to bring the 906, which again is that placement paperwork that every foster parent should have at the time of placement. So you have your 906, and then usually a piece of mail that's current with your address on it to show residency.
Sure.
If you're enrolling within that school, right? Do not enroll if you want them to continue at the school of origin, because then you can't take that back. So I always tell people when we're looking at that, be careful and don't. That's why I have a job. Call and ask, because we'll guide you through that process. I want to make sure that the kids are where they are supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that they are getting the best care that they can, whether it be academically, socially, and that their IEPs and 504 plans are either put in motion. You have to put, if you believe your child is struggling in some way or shape or form, however that looks, you can reach out to myself and I can walk them through the process. It has to be put in writing to the school. So the school then has a calendar number of days to respond. It's kind of a neat process because it's a good way to measure, right? Like where we're at. So it's kind of a neat thing. Also, do not, I always say this, don't sign things unless they're positive. So going back to that, they're the educational advocate, right?
Yes.
So that gives them how do I put it? It can be kind of scary because you're like, oh, I don't know how to sign or what I'm supposed to sign. You can sign anything.
They're in the front seat.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, they're the driver of the bus, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I always say, if it's positive, please sign it. If it's a negative, if it's something regarding a discipline, if it's something regarding changing a 504 or something, don't sign that until you consult, right? We don't ever want to sign expulsion hearing anything, right? And hopefully nobody goes down that road. We're just thinking, worst case situation.
Yes.
Because our kids do deserve to have meetings about that. They also deserve to have legal representation if need be at a certain time. So I know how to do all that. So, I can get that ball rolling at any point if needed, but I don't want the foster parent to ever believe they're on an island by themselves.
Yeah, and it's easier to prevent than go back and fix and say, hey, we need to undo that thing that got signed by accident or, without being fully, more fully informed.
And that's for all parents, right?
Yeah.
So they might put a form in front of you, and remember that old saying, read it before you sign it.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to read it, but then the rule is, well, if you sign this, I think it's called an EIA. If you sign this, well, then your kid can come back to school. Except that if they do one more behavior, then they're expelled, right? So we don't want to, those forms exist, and they have a good reason to exist.
Yes.
They do. But we got to look at the big picture here for our kids, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And so, Kristin, we kind of touched on your history working in the field, in this type of field, but was there something in particular that brought you to it, working like child welfare? Because kept you did case management for a long time. You worked in licensing and now this role, but that's still, you put in a lot of time. What brought you, or what's kept you?
So what brought me was interesting because my mom always said when I was little, she'd ask me, so what do you want to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to help people. That was always my response. Other than the normal, let me be a vet for 5 minutes, right? So it was always, I want to help people. So when I went to college, I chose psychology as my major. And so that is a good major for coming into social work.
Yes.
And so I did interview in child welfare. I always wanted to help people, and you're not only helping a child, you're helping a family unit. That's the idea. And so I stayed in it for several reasons. For the advocacy piece, which I enjoyed. I also enjoyed advocating on the different levels. You have court, you have DCFS, you have, just working every day with the kids and the family. But I had really, really good support from a great supervisor when I first started out, which taught me the ways, and that makes a huge difference.
Game changer, right?
Oh, huge difference to have that support. And so, then I stayed in it. I took a brief time out, and then I missed it and I came back. And so then I got into licensing. That change happened when a position opened, and I ended up, I was pregnant at the time. So I thought, well, this is, let's transition everything. So I went into licensing, but licensing, you're also working with families. And it was really a cool thing to learn, because they're not the same.
Yes. It's just a different angle of of the service.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So, Kristin, what are your hobbies or passions? You have a lot of interesting, you know.
Do I? I don't know if I do. I don't know.
She's an athlete, everyone. I
was an athlete. So while I was getting my psych degree, I decided, college soccer would be fun to play. So no, I played soccer since I was 9 years old. So I've played and coached. And just last season for my little guy, I coached soccer for first and second and maybe even third. There was a big age gap between my youngest and oldest on the team. And that was a lot of fun because it was a different way. I'm used to coaching like high school age and they typically listen and, and it's more about like getting them in shape and stuff. But this was kind of cool because it was more of a developmental, like teaching them how to, the rules of the game and having fun. So that was really cool. And it was all about snack time. It was all about snack time after the games. So that was fun.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, to do that, you'd have to like be very disciplined and like consistent, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It's real easy to quit after a bad, horrible, like a bad game or a bad, something.
Well, it's cool to look at because like even our licensing team works really well together, right? So you have a lot of different personalities that come together. And that's looking at that. How do you make that all work together? And so I learned a lot being on a college team and being part of a high school team and being part of a club team and all that. All these different personalities come together, but everybody has strengths and we can all pool them together and make it into something great, that will really help someone and ourselves as we move forward through our jobs. So it was really neat to start them out and see them all kind of run around like a bee, like just a bee's nest. Like, and then even my mom said, like she was watching all the games and she'd be like, gosh, at the end of the season, you guys were really getting it down. Like even at that age, they really started to understand the game and work together.
Isn't that nice?
Oh, it's so neat. So it can happen at any age.
Yes. And there's like countless studies about like the benefits of sports for in a child's like development and like character and like ability to like just succeed. So I love seeing that. That's the DCFS and LSSI and all us child welfare agencies. We really push for and really ask, please, foster parents, you're like, that's actually part of licensing. It's one of the things children are, encouraged and you're expected to support their development, extracurriculars and exploring their interests.
And it could be not like soccer, it could be something else like chess or the spelling bee, whatever that may look like to them. But that also goes back into how important it is to keep them at their home or their school of origin, right? Because if they're on a team already, like the football team or part of cheerleading club or something, that's really important to keep them there too. So it's just another angle.
Yeah, super, super true. So as we wrap up our episode today, what's one win to celebrate, Kristin?
Ooh, a win to celebrate.
Yeah, personal or professional, something you're feeling good about.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think. One win is that now I'm going to be a full-time education liaison. So I feel like I will be able to dedicate a lot of time in that direction, which will help out the kiddos and the families. But on like a personal level, we're doing this weekend my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. That still exists in the world. That's so cool, right? And then after that, it's like my son's birthday and then my birthday. We lead right into that. So summer is a great time for celebrations in our family. We have a lot. Ooh, and my brother's coming back from Australia for the first time in like 2 years. And his birthday's in July. So see, we have a lot. There's a lot.
No, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a pleasure talking to you and like letting our viewers get to know you. And please contact Kristin if she can be of service to you.
And every worker knows who I am. They should know who I am. So if you can't remember Kristin Cardin, you can call our main line or you can obviously email. So it'd be KRISTIN.Cardin, CARD as in dog EN at LSSI.org, right? ORG. But your caseworker should know how to get a hold of me.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys. Till the next time. Bye.